Okay, welcome, National Chess, Virgin Islands, at home and abroad, out of St. Croix again, guys, your operator, and here we go. I have the black pieces in a FIDE Online Arena game 2021, just from the other day. And whenever you watch this, wherever you're watching this, guys, please feel free to look at all the videos I have in the selected playlist. All of it is full with a lot of rich, valuable chess information. Analyzing my own games against my own opponents online. And if you selected this video from this playlist, this is another online FIDE Arena game. I advise everyone to pay attention, learn, and endure how to play very high-level chess, okay, to get results, okay. Now, I'm not necessarily doing this for you guys to learn, my moves and how I play. You need to develop your own style, as chess is such a infinitely varied board game with virtually unlimited amounts of combinations based on modern opening theory or otherwise. So now, without further introduction, let's get into this. And my opponent started the game with b4. We went for c5, Sicilian defense, but instead, guys, of knight to f3, we saw knight to c3. My opponent here rated around 1200, and I was very suspect of this game. So guys, in this game, we're not going to go through the full game. We're going to do things a little differently this time. We're going to stop in the middle game, and as you guys see, I'm going to be up some material. And I want you guys to finish the game for black. I'm not going to finish this game for you guys this time, as I've done in over 60 videos. I've showed you guys how to create opening advantages for yourself while conducting white, black pieces. I've showed you middle game theory at this point. I've showed you guys how to play perfect endgames if you want to win. So now it's your guys' turn to finish this one. But we'll go over what was played here in the opening and transitioning into the middle game. And you guys can figure it out over yourselves over the board. That's what I'm going to start doing for you guys now. I'm actually going to start having you guys finish the games because I'm kind of exhausted in terms of showing you guys all my answers. You guys got to come up with answers now at this point. If you've been, subscribed and watching my videos, now it's time for you guys to start to become chess players, okay? So f4, and we have some videos in the playlist here about what to do about f4. E5, countering the King's Gambit, for lack of a better word. Remember, we have a video actually on the playlist that I brought to you guys titled Not to King's Gambit, a Sicilian. You guys can look at that if you want and, learn a couple things. But as for this game, knight f6, not turning a blind eye to the kingside development. And now the best move, e captures on f4, so giving me the king's pawn. Of course, not the e pawn, the f pawn. The f pawn is the king's pawn, and the c pawn is the queen's pawn. Well, f and e and d and c. So bishop to c4 now, going for this Baudelaire variation, and short castles was not the best move in this position. You guys find a better move for Team White? Well, I think it just, no captures. Okay, now it's the eval saying, well, previously the evaluation did not say castles was best, but okay, now it is. Gave the engine some time to think here. d6 now, the best move. h3 now by my opponent, not the best move. Knight f6, knight to g5. Well, now it's actually just best to capture on d5 here for white. Instead, after knight f6, knight to g5 now, threatening f7. And again, for my beginners, why is this restricted? Because this is basically losing on the spot. You have a knight protected, which just captured f7 pawn, and the queen and the rook. We call this the royal fork for advanced chess. So for knight to g5, bishop to e6, and this was the best defense. And now a questionable move by my opponent is knight to d5. Knight to d5 is sort of iffy. I mean, it's challenging, but this doesn't work, guys and girls. Come on, I want you guys to pay attention and really focus on the details in this center game, why this doesn't work, okay? We're getting down to advanced chess understanding here. Why does this not work? It does not work because after knight captures d5 and knight captures on e6, the bishop that was protecting the d5 capture, now f recapturing the knight that went with the light squared bishop on e6, and now after e8 captures on d5, now just e5. Okay, so for those that are still learning, let's go back now and relay this variation. Knight d5, black captures the knight on d5, white replies with knight captures bishop, f-pawn recaptures bishop. Guys, why not recapturing with the knight here? Obviously because now you're losing a piece, or possibly a pawn in this position. This is why taking back with the knight is not recommended. You defend the d5 knight with the pawn, and now after pawn captures, e5, and in this particular result, black is up a pawn. Black has a pawn, and the center now achieved and virtually dominated with no double pawns. There were double pawns in the f-file, and black is achieved. Okay, so the continuation was c3, and now I want you guys to find the best move. What is the best continuation for if you were conducting black pieces here over the board? Or what would you do? Or what should you do? The best move is knight to f5. And if you thought that maybe for a second that knight to f5 was not possible, which it is possible, maybe you were afraid of queen h5 check if you're a chess player, and you were able to scope that from your opponent. Well, queen to h5 is not really an exclamation mark. It's not a stunning move. And why is that, guys? After I give everyone a couple of seconds. Yeah, just g6. g6 blocks the check as well as protect the knight, as it does that's under attack on f5 as a result of queen h5 check. So let's go, guys. Chess is a very complicated game, okay? It's not something that, you can kind of just pick up overnight. It takes weeks and weeks and months and years and years. And as the years go by and you spend more time, then you figure out why you've been doing this as you get better results and achieve in your chess games. Okay. So, furthermore, queen g4 is okay, but this is what was played. However, black is still up a pawn. We see that white has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 white pawns, and black has 8. And not to mention, but white has double pawns here on the d-file. We mentioned double pawns are a weakness, oftentimes, especially in the center of the board. And as we mentioned, black is achieved. Now with bishop to g7 going for the dragon. It's still a Sicilian defense, so bishop g7 is a modern dragonized variation for you guys that know these types of things. Or for my beginners, a dragon variation typically is a modern response to the Sicilian after bishop to g7 is played. We call that dragon variation. Because it's hyper-modernized fighting in the center for the backwards pawn, typically like this d6 pawn for Team Black. So okay, d3 pawn push by my opponent, and h5. h5 was the best move, now going after the queen, saying, well, you need to move somewhere to be a little more correct. My opponent played queen to e2, now just doubling up here on the e-file. And there are no weaknesses in black's camp. Everything is covered. White still has an undeveloped dark squared bishop. It's not recommended to move anywhere yet. Neither is the light squared bishop. Obviously, in this position, you have to move the queen. That's why queen f2, I guess an okay move. I mean, where else is she going to go at this point? As we mentioned, black has just too much powerful pawns in the center. So g5. G5 is totally permissible now because, you're expanding more on the king side. And we forgot to mention here, let's take it back a couple of moves. King f7 was played after rook to e1. And it turns out that king to f7, I didn't even know this, but I played king to f7 sort of on a whim. And that's undoubtedly the best move in the position. The engine says that this is actually very correct. Because now, after black decides to get their queen out of d8 from her home square, the rooks will be connected. As we see here, the black rooks are now connected on the back rank. So rook a to d1 by my opponent, a6. Now maybe going after the light square bishop, but now b4. So guys, find the best move for black in this position without looking at the algebraic notation. Find the best move for black in this position after I give everyone a couple seconds. Just about over 10 minutes here, guys, and thanks for participating and learning from being a pawn up and how to manipulate a strong Sicilian. When your opponent really presses in the opening, but fails to this stronger centi pawn gain. As we see, white is definitely losing in the centi pawn gain statistic. If we were to look at this in the database, white would probably be like -1, and black would probably be like +1. So because the center pawn advantage is so great for black in this position, it's probably somewhere around +2.5, maybe, in terms of engine evaluation. Okay, guys, you guys got a long way to go here. Anyways, c captures on b4, c captures on b4, and rook from h to f8 was not played. That was a misclick in the script here when I wrote this for the engine. Instead, it was rook h to e8, and this is where we stop. And we're going to do things differently, as previously mentioned here in this virtual analysis, guys. Your instructors wants you to proceed with this game on your own time. I would like you guys to, if you want to participate and keep working on your chess, set this up over the board now with white to play. And I want you guys to learn how to win this game with black, right? I knew how to win this game with black, but I'm not going to reveal that to you this time. I want you to take this obvious advantage here on the king side, this pawn skewer and this diagonal pawn chain here. And I want you guys to bring the result now for yourselves. And so this position with white to play, continue from here and let me know what you guys find. In the comments, you can finish the expression. If you've seen the expression here in the engine, you should know how to write it, and you go in there and you write it and show me what you got. Show me what you found out. Okay? Thanks, guys. Take care, and much more to come in the future. Have fun finishing this one. Take care. Bye-bye.